What's up guys, it's me Charlie and I hope you're excited because we have a series drop coming on 4th of March and this series drop is huge. Okay, in terms of both quantity and quality, I think it's a very substantial drop and I think it's a huge step in the correct direction. It's really a huge step in the correct direction. It's really a series drop that I would say will excite almost everyone other than the whales who basically are collection complete. Alright, without much further ado, let's go into the cards. First off, now I think this is a fantastic drop. It really is, because with now dropping to series 3, it basically means that the best destroy deck is available to everybody who's series 3 complete, and destroy decks are very stable. Yes, they may fall in and out of popularity, but to me, you can always make infinite with a destroy deck. You can always do it. Okay. Basically, destroy decks you play. Alright, this is also the reason why people hate it. But basically, you play your destroy decks as it is, and yep, you generate a ton of power. If everything goes well, you could even play now on 5 Anim Zola. You create 2 really big pieces of things. You have your free death, you have a huge dead pool, you have so many options. Alright, the power that you output is crazy. And this is why destroy decks are always able to get you to infinite. So opening up this gateway, this pathway to infinite to everyone is a step in the correct direction. At least you will allow people to you actually allow new players to have an easy route to getting to infinite, so that they feel a sense of accomplishment. They feel that, okay, I've managed to infinite, this game is fun, the grind is worth it, and yeah, they'll be encouraged to keep playing. And I've mentioned before, we always want a bigger player base, we want the community to grow and not shrink. We do not want people to, after playing for a while, realize have the feeling that, oh crap, it's so hard to make infinite, I give up, I don't want to play the game anymore. So we don't want that. Now the only potential issue is that people love to hate destroy, and the reason is because destroy decks are not interactive, okay? And the only way you can stop destroy deck is with armor and Cosmo, but let's face it, people don't really play these 2 cards much anymore. I mean, they are still around, but their play rate has been drastically, reduced. Next card, Zabu. Another great drop if you were to ask me. Zabu has been quietly one of the best enablers if you were to ask me. Alright. In fact, I do think that Zabu is still worth the tokens as a series 4 card. Let's take a look at one of the prevalent decks in the meta, Doom 2099. You play a Zabu on 1, you play a Doom 2099 on 3, you're almost always guaranteed a win. That is the power of Zabu enabling. Zabu also enables the old combo of Storm, War Machine, and Legion. So yeah, Zabu is a fantastic enabler. But in terms of, I wouldn't say in terms of popularity Zabu has gone down, but I think that a lot of shine has been, Zabu has been somewhat neglected, forgotten, okay, because people are looking at, there are so many other enablers, there are so many other things that people are playing. For example, Iron Patriot, and they think, hey, look, I have a card, I have a almost free card anyway, so that seems to be more fun than playing Zabu and, having it hit my 4 cost. Okay, but in terms of the power, in terms of the impact that it brings, Zabu is still one of the best enablers in the game. And I'm happy that, it's dropped. It opens a lot of gateways, it opens up a lot of possibility in terms of deck building and experimentation. Next card to be dropped, Modok. Modok has basically lost a lot of his shine. In the past, he used to be in Hela decks as well, the card that dumps a lot of cards for Hela to revive, but that is no longer the case, that's no longer happening much. Okay, in terms of discard, we are seeing a shift to, targeted discard. So Modok is losing a lot of his I wouldn't say that Modok I wouldn't say that Modok is not a staple if you are a discard lover. But Modok has also lost a lot of his importance, has also is no longer viewed as the critical card in discard decks anymore. He's still key, but it's not as if that if you don't draw him, you automatically retreat. It's no longer that kind of scenarios anymore. So yep, I'm happy that no, it's not happy. I'm not really. Look, I'm not a huge discard fan. Okay, I love playing Bullseye and Baker, but I'm not a huge discard fan overall. So I do think that if this is a fair drop. This is a fair drop. All right. Next up, Nimrod. This is also a fair drop. Nimrod has been in the spotlight for a while. Sorry, not for a while, for a few times already, and logically it should be a drop. Okay, because a lot of people might have already stumbled upon Nimrod or have already unlocked for Nimrod, right? And the thing is, Nimrod decks no longer have the kind of power presence it used to have. Now the problem with Nimrod is that it is a combo deck. Okay, so with combo deck is, well, if you don't get your combo, you're pretty much screwed. That is the first thing. The second thing is that Nimrod decks used to be strong in the sense that it's very difficult to predict because they don't know which lane you're going to play your Venom on, which lane you're going to play your Carnage Deathlock on. Okay, but right now with power levels increasing across the board, or more commonly known as power crap, people no longer care. People are no longer that afraid. Alright, I don't really care. I don't really care which lane you're going to Venom, which lane you're going to Deathlock. I'm just going to throw out a ton of power on two lanes, and yeah, it's going to beat whatever you're going to do. So Nimrod, the strength of Nimrod has been dropping quite a fair bit. So yeah, alright, and don't tell me that Symbiote Spider-Man helps Nimrod and things like that. No, because with Nimrod, with your traditional Shui Nimrod, you are getting a 12 power Nimrod. With your Symbiote Spider-Man Nimrod, you are getting a 13, and the difference is just 1. And if you multiply a few times, it's just 2, 3. So yeah, it's not exactly fantastically game breaking or anything. Next card, Ghost Spider. Move decks other than move bounce hasn't exactly made any impact to the meta. And with Arana, Ghost Spider is look, I'm not going to say that I'm not saying that Ghost Spider doesn't have a place in move decks. Obviously they do. Obviously she does. Okay, but typically you will be playing two of 3, okay, Arana, Iron Fist, and Ghost Spider. And with Arana being the best movement enabler, it's quite obvious that Ghost Spider's role has been taken away by Arana. Okay, and well, if you have Iron Fist for free, yeah, you see. So Ghost Spider's importance in move that have been overtaken by Arana. This drop is well warranted, if you were to ask me. And move decks, given that they are not exactly very, very strong, other than move bounce, I don't think move cards. I don't think move decks should be leaded with a bunch of Series 4, Series 5 cards. Next card, Nebula. The meta has moved to playing multiple cards on turns. Okay, we are no longer seeing playing one cost on turn 1, 2 costs on turn 2, 3 costs on turn 3, 4 costs on turn 4, 5 costs on turn 5, and 6 costs on turn 6. No. So we are playing multiple cards every turn, which means it's easier to counter Nebula's effect. Alright, since I'm going to play the multiple cards anyway, I'm just going to shove one card in Nebula's lane. So yeah, Nebula doesn't really make that much of an impact anymore. So Nebula is a good is a good drop. It's a fair drop if you were to ask me. Okay, unless somehow the meta shifts back to that kind of play style, you know, to a certain kind of play style, then otherwise, yeah, Nebula isn't that impactful anymore in the meta. Next card, Silk. Two words, power crab. People used to not mind dealing with Silk bouncing around because Silk is a premium 2/5. 2/5 is still premium stats for 2 costs if you were to ask me. But two things. Given power crab, people are more able to deal with a 2/5. And second thing, because people are playing multiple cards, it's harder to fit in Silk because there is a good chance that you'll clock yourself. There is a good chance that you'll clock yourself with Silk. Right? So yeah, Silk is no longer Series 4 worthy. Spider Ham. Spider Ham was the first card to be released as a Series 4. Did generate quite a fair bit of excitement, did generate quite a fair bit of fun and all. But overall, not exactly worth it. And since his release, there have always been a very obvious and strong substitute, which is Iceman. Basically, both results in the same outcome, more or less, right? Because if you hit a card, if you give a card a +1 energy cost, typically it becomes a dead card. It typically becomes a dead card anyway. It becomes a card that you are not going to play anyway. You wouldn't find it worthwhile to play. Right? Because I mean that's the nature of card games. Every card is has a specific cost, to play, and that's the value of it. And when you change the cost of that particular card, the card either becomes entirely broken, becomes very strong, or absolutely worthless. Right? It's just two ends of the spectrum. Lady Deathstrike. Now this is a very interesting change if you were to ask me. Now, Lady Deathstrike on paper, okay, not on paper, as of now, looks like just a card that, you know, yeah, it is what it is, it's just there. You know, it's very niche, it can be fun, but overall, yeah, not exactly very impactful. But then again, as I mentioned a few times, people are playing multiple cards, people are playing more cards, and when that happens, when you're playing 1 cost card, 2 cost card, even 3 cost card, there is a good chance that you can hit it with Lady Deathstrike. So in terms of Lady Deathstrike's ability having an impact, I would actually say that it's on an uptrend. Okay, so I'm a bit to be honest, I'm a little bit, I wouldn't say entirely surprised because Lady Deathstrike have been very niche, but I'm a little bit surprised because Lady Deathstrike is a card that could potentially be a Series 4 worthy card if, you know, if Second Dinner were to retweak Lady Deathstrike a little bit, or maybe buff her a little bit, you know. A rework idea that I had in mind would be, you know, maybe Lady Deathstrike gains +1 power for every card destroyed, something like that, you know. Of course, we will have to change her power to prevent her from being OP, but you know, that's just a rework that I had in mind. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty surprised, but hey, I don't have Lady Deathstrike, so I'll be happy to, you know, pick her up. Yeah, I do not have Spider Ham either, but you know, I'm not exactly okay. The first card that I do not have that I'm affected with this series drop is Spider Ham, right? But you know, I've been using Iceman as a replacement for Spider Ham for such a long time that I no longer care about Spider Ham. I'm pretty excited to get Lady Deathstrike. Okay, maybe use her in a mill deck. Yeah, but it's fun. All right, it's going to be fun. Lady Deathstrike decks are obviously very fun, and with the meta shifting to small cards, I don't know, I do think that Lady Deathstrike has potential moving forward. Next up, MMM. Okay, I already have MMM, so this doesn't really affect me, but I do think that MMM is a deck card that is either entirely worthless or entirely game breaking for you. You draw an MMM against Mr. Negative deck. You draw an MMM against uh, a low-key deck. Yeah, it absolutely kills, right? But you draw an MMM against, or even a discard deck, alright? You're preventing the swarms, and not only that, you're preventing the bullseye from triggering, alright? So yeah, in these situations, it's an absolutely crazy deck. But you play an MMM against an ongoing deck, you'll be wishing you had Enchantress, you had Red Guardian instead. So yeah, I don't think MMM is a card that deserves tokens, that deserves token spending. So I think it's a good drop. It's a fair drop. It's a very fair drop. Next up, Havoc. Havoc is a card that I do not have, so I'm looking forward to getting Havoc as well. Okay, and the truth is, since release, Havoc has not found any footing until Agent Venom. But even then, Havoc only appears in one deck, one singular deck, and that's it. Granted, yes, that deck is strong as hell, but you know, with the rework to Adam Warlock, if people do not have Havoc, they're just going to put in Adam Warlock. Alright, in fact, I do believe that most people are replacing Havoc with Adam Warlock. So yeah, I mean, I do know a lot of people are playing both Havoc and Adam Warlock. That's for people who prefer a smooth energy curve, but there are also people who, you know, play something else, push up their energy curve. So it's a preference kind of thing. So at the end of the day, Havoc is like Spider-Ham, easily replaceable with the change to Adam Warlock. So yeah, Havoc no longer really commands the need to spend tokens on anyway. So yeah, I'm excited that I'll be getting Havoc just to, you know, try things out, mess things out, you know, have some fun. Celine. Okay, the problem with Celine is that she only hits. She's only effective for one card. Now you'll be thinking, wait a minute. What about there are another two cards. Alright, let's talk about the three cards. Hood, Green Goblin, and Hobgoblin. Alright, these are the three cards that you can effectively target on your hand. Now, but the thing is, what are the chances? How many times have you actually, you know, played Celine on one, hit your Hood in hand, and you play Hood on turn 4 together with your Viper? Not exactly a lot. Meaning that if your Celine is hitting your Hood, your curve might actually be screwed. Okay? It might actually be screwed. So that's not a very ideal scenario. It doesn't really impact Hobgoblin because it's really very difficult to play Hobgoblin nowadays. With, like, I've already mentioned this twice already, people are playing multiple cards. So it's very difficult to actually play Hobgoblin. It really is. There is a reason why Hobgoblin has been taken off clock decks and things like that. Because it's very difficult to play the Hobgoblin. People are playing a lot of cards across boards, and there is a good chance that, you know, you will end up, you know, your Hobgoblin staying on your lane because, yep, they filled that lane. And when they realize that, hey, look, I'm playing against a clock deck, I'm playing against a toxic deck, they might be throwing goblins, I need to defend myself against potential goblins. It's very difficult to play Hobgoblin. So the only card that Celine effectively impact will be Green Goblin. So yeah, is it really worth it to play Celine just to impact one card in the deck? The answer is no. I still love my Celine Goblins deck, but let's face it, it's not exactly an A tier deck. And the final card to drop from Series 4 to Series 3 is Hercules. Nothing much needs to be talked about this to talk about Hercules. Hercules doesn't really even make the cut in move decks. Okay, in the past people talk about, you know, Madam Web plus Hercules, you ping pong your dagger, you ping pong your human torch, blah blah blah, but very quickly, that deck has been that deck. Look, that deck is bonkers when it goes off, but when it doesn't, and you know, it just kind of stinks in that sense, right? So Hercules is even struggling to find a footing, to find a place in move deck. So yup, that kind of sums up how bad the card is. Now let's go into the series 4 drops. Loki. I'm just sad. At this point, I'm just sad that they are butchering Loki. Loki used to be one of the most feared decks, and it used to be one of the most devastating decks, the best deck in the game. S tier easy. It has been butchered. It has been, you know. So yeah, I really don't know why. I really don't know why they are doing this. Loki is one of the most iconic characters in Marvel. It's one of the most popular characters in Marvel, and they're just butchering Loki at this point. I really have no idea why they are doing this, but I don't know, man. I honestly feel that if they rework Loki, if they buff Loki back, Loki will still be a Series 5 card that people are willing to spend tokens on. People will be willing to spend tokens on because it's just insane. Look, it's just insane, man. Blob, fair drop. Blob has only been able to find spots in Arishem and Thanos. Okay, but even then, I think a lot of Thanos decks are moving away from Blob because look, there is, other than the fact that, you know, you can afford to play Blob. Blob doesn't really have much synergy with Thanos. Okay, and with Arishem, honestly speaking, Blob. The reason why Blob has maintained a place in Arishem is because in the past, Blob has an ongoing effect, and you are able to, you know, play Blob on 5, Mystic Absorbing Man on 6, which is crazy. So you have 3 blocks. But now that Blob has been reworked, the ongoing has been removed, okay, and the cap has been changed, right? Honestly, Blob is just a heavy hitter in Arishem decks. He's just a heavy hitter. You're just playing Blob hoping that, you know, you get after pulling cards, you are near the cap, and then the next card that you pull is a huge card, and basically you get a big block. But that is it. That is the only so-called synergy of Blob in an Arishem deck. It's just a heavy hitter. If you do not have Blob, you can still play Arishem. You can just replace him with Red Hawk. You can replace him with Gore, things like that. Alright, any heavy hitter will do fine. So honestly, Blob doesn't even has any decks, if you were to ask me. Yeah, sure, he is in Arishem, but he's just there as a heavy hitter. If you don't have Blob, you can still play Arishem. Sebastian Shaw. Now, I think this is a good drop. This is really a very, very good drop because Sebastian Shaw obviously is a huge key piece. Is the heavy hitter in Silver Surfer deck. So I'm happy. I've only bought 2 season pass. One is Miles Morales when I on global launch. So yep, I just bought it for the sake of it, for the fun of it, for the heck of it. I also purchased Sebastian Shaw as a season pass because I used to love Silver Surfer a lot. So yeah, I'm just glad because Silver Surfer has always been, you know, Silver Surfer has always been a good deck, has always been, you know, a relevant deck, but somehow it has always not been popular enough, at least of recent, of the last 6 months. So yeah, I'm just, you know, it's always around in the meta, but it doesn't really create that kind of excitement. I do not know why. So hopefully with this Sebastian Shaw dropping to Series 4, we are going to see more surfers. We are going to see more experimentation with surfers. Yep, I'm happy for Silver Surfer. I'm just happy. And Sebastian Shaw dropping to Series 4, I honestly think this is a move to push for people to spend on Collector and to push on Collector and Grand Pool and maybe the merge cards, alright? Because yeah, I mean, pushing Sebastian Shaw down to Series 4 will also sort of promote the merge archetype. okay, which I think will open up a lot of interesting things, which I think will be good for the game. Elsa Bloodstone, let's be honest, everyone saw it coming from a mile away when Elsa was given as a free Christmas variant last December. Uh, Elsa Bloodstone is pretty dead right now. Ironically, you know, when people are playing when people are playing multiple cards it's easier to fill the lanes. But you know, Elsa Bloodstone actually falls off. So yeah. Elsa Bloodstone hasn't been relevant in the meta for a long time. The power that she's able to bring is not enough. Miss Marvel, yeah, because people are playing multiple cards, it's actually much harder to trigger Miss Marvel's ability. She not just had a day, she used to terrorize the meta. She was insane on release. I spent 6,000 tokens to buy her immediately after her season. Had tons of fun with her, but her days are over. I feel a little bit sad though, but I guess it is what it is. I don't know, man. I don't exactly know how to rework her. Clock on the rise. Sorry, not on the rise. Clock being around. People wanting to play multiple cards is very difficult for Miss Marvel to have a footing. Maybe Miss Marvel could be buffed to something like, you know, if you have at least, if you fulfill Miss Marvel's condition +5, if you don't +3, I don't know, man, something like that could work. But Miss Marvel is basically down and out at the moment. I do not know if they have plans to revitalize her, but considering that she has been dropped to Series 4, probably not. Werewolf by Night, one word, troublesome. It's too troublesome. He's just not worth the effort. Okay, and that's it. Just not worth the effort. And with people playing multiple cards, earlier, it's just more difficult to play Werewolf by Night. You know, it's just difficult to have him bouncing around, right? Werewolf bounce is also not exactly very. It's not exactly very effective anyway. You know, especially with Toxin, people want to, you know, replay those cards instead of, you know, just bouncing the werewolf all around. Too troublesome, not worth it. Scar, well, fair drop. Scar has never been the star player. Has always been, you know, a solid role player in decks that he features in. Okay, so decks that he features in, of course, you have your Hawk decks, you know, your high evo, you get your things out, you get Hawks out, your Bruce Banner deck. I play a Bruce Banner deck that features Scar. And of course, most popular, most effective would be Surtur. So Scar is a very good role player, and a role player should be a Series 4, not a Series 5. Black Knight. Basically this card have evolved quite a lot. Alright, we have seen a lot of different discard. We have Scrawn discard, alright, improving your Dracula discard, your Epoch discard. We have right now, and then we have Bull's Eye discard, alright, whereby some people, you know, ramp up a huge Taken, things like that. And they have proven to be pretty able to hold their ground. Unfortunately, Black Knight hasn't been able to hold their ground. You know, the Black Knight Ebony Blade combo hasn't exactly been very strong. Fun deck to play, but not exactly strong. So, yep, Black Knight. I mean, this is the discard variation. This is the discard archetype that hasn't exactly found any footing. Hasn't been able to garner fans to, you know, stick with it. So, to experiment with it, to improve on the deck. So, yep, I think it's a fair downgrade. I mean, it's the smaller brother of the discard variations. Corvus Glaive. Alright, so on launch, Corvus Glaive was actually fantastic. People are also using Corvus Glaive with Hela. Okay, but we have shifted to, you know, targeted discard. We have shifted to very targeted discard, and Corvus Glaive is random, it's too random. So yup, no longer really worth the risk. So yeah. Corvus Glaive had a very strong start. Alright, he had a very strong start on release, but over time, you know, yeah, he has fallen off. And Hellcow is actually a card that I would say can rival Corvus Glaive, because with Corvus Glaive there is a good chance that you discard something that you want, that you need. But with Hellcow, there is zero chance of that happening, because you can always activate Hellcow on turn 6 compared to Glaive. So yeah, Glaive is falling off because of how the discard strategy is changing. Cowl Obsidian, same as Cowl Obsidian has always been a strong role player, strong support player if you were to ask me. So not exactly worth it as a series 5 card. Like for example, if you want to play a Thanos deck and you're lacking Cowl Obsidian, nope, you're not going to spend 6,000 tokens to get Cowl Obsidian. You want to play a Surtur deck, you're not going to spend 6,000 tokens to get Cowl Obsidian, because he is just a piece in the entire thing. He's not the main thing, you see. So yeah, good drop. Cannonball. Now I'm really surprised they dropped Cannonball, because to me Cannonball is still worth the 6,000 tokens. Cannonball is I don't know, man. I think that Cannonball is very underrated. I love Cannonball. I'm a Cannonball believer. And to me, especially with the current meta, this is probably the 4th or 5th time I'm repeating. People are playing multiple cards. Okay, it's much more likely that people will fill the field lanes. Okay, which means the chances of Cannonball destroying something is actually increasing. It's actually high, right? So that should equate to Cannonball's value rising. But I don't know, man. So I mean, for people who do not have Cannonball, I'm happy for them, because right now they can get a good card at just 3,000 tokens. Okay, so that's good. That's good for people who don't have Cannonball. But I'm a little bit not sure why they did this drop, because to me Cannonball is still well worth the 6,000 tokens. Okay, and yeah, as the game goes on, right now we are seeing more people playing more cards. More cards means possibility of filling more lanes, which means Cannonball's ability is more likely to trigger the destroy thing. It's changing it into a rock kind of thing, you know. So yeah, I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised that they dropped Cannonball. And our final would be Annihilus. Annihilus had his day. Really had his day, you know, with the Hood Sentry package kind of thing. And recently we saw Sentry being buffed again. So I'm surprised that they decided to, you know, I mean, Annihilus is an archetype upon himself. It's a pretty interesting archetype upon himself. On release, he absolutely terrorized the meta, so much so that he had to be nerfed to just flipping negative card. Yep, zero cost card no longer gets flipped. Yep. But the thing is, Annihilus does have potential. I mean, he used to absolutely terrorize the meta. Alright, for those who remember him on release, he used to terrorize the whole meta. So I don't know, man, why are they giving up on Annihilus so quickly? I would love it if they kept Annihilus in Series 5 and they actually released some cards that could help Annihilus, the Annihilus archetype, the archetype of, you know, really, you know, flipping negative power to your opponent kind of thing. Yeah, and I'm a little bit surprised because they just buff Sentry, which, you know, is the only the decks that play Annihilus play Sentry. The decks that play Sentry plays Annihilus. So yeah, I really don't understand why the buff and then, you know, they lower Annihilus. So yeah. All in all, I feel that Annihilus is a very interesting archetype that they could work on. That they could maybe put in something else to maybe they can put in something like similar to Sentry. I don't know, maybe like a mix and match between Sentry and Ares. If if you have more power, you create uh, a negative one thingy on your opponent's side of the board. Right? If you're winning this lane, you create something on your opponent's side of the board or things like that. Otherwise, you create the negative thing on your side, and you need Annihilus to flip it over. Alright, I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that can be explored with the Annihilus archetype, and with this drop, I'm not so sure that they are going to. So I'm a little disappointed with this drop, to be honest. Obviously, if you don't have Annihilus, this is a good drop for you. I'm disappointed in the sense that it seems that they are not going to work on this archetype. And honestly, the idea that I just shared, you play this a card, you play this card, I don't know what character is it going to be. It creates if you win the lane, it automatically creates a card with negative power on your opponent's side of the board. If you lose the lane, the negative power the negative power card is created on your side, and then you can need to flip it over. Yeah, I think this could be something to play with and make the archetype a little bit more fun, revitalize the archetype. But with this drop, I don't think they're going to do it. So yeah, I'm a little bit sad considering I used to love Annihilus a lot. I even have the base card of Annihilus Ink. Yeah, that's how much I used to love the archetype. So all in all, I think this is a very, very substantial series drop. I would say many people will be impacted by it. Free-to-play players will definitely be impacted by it. Alright. Personally, for me, for Series 3, I'll be looking forward to getting. I will be getting Spider-Ham, Deathstrike, and Havoc for free. And Hercules as well. Spider-Ham, I'm not exactly thrilled. I mean, yeah. Lady Deathstrike will be fun. Havoc, I do not have Agent Venom, so yep, it's probably gonna sit around. Hercules, he's gonna sit around as well. I mean, move decks are even not using Hercules, so yep. For Series 4, are there any cards that will entice me to spend? I already have Loki, I already have Blob, Shaw as well. Bloodstone, no, because Bloodstone is pure crap right at the moment. Already have Miss Marvel, Werewolves, the only card that I do not have would be Call Obsidian, Elsa. Yeah, the only two cards that I do not have that is dropping to Series 4 will be Call Obsidian and Elsa. Elsa stinks at the moment, so absolutely not. Call Obsidian, I don't know, man. I'm actually pretty tempted to purchase Surtur and Call Obsidian to play the Surtur deck. I mean, yeah, but with the Factum Centaurium coming up, with the new event coming up, let's see what cards I get. If I happily manage to land on Surtur and Call Obsidian, that's fantastic. It's amazing, right? I can play Surtur decks. If I happen to land on Surtur, then I will be very, very tempted to spend the 3,000 tokens to get Call Obsidian, right? Because Call Obsidian isn't a bad card, and honestly, I think that Call Obsidian is worth spending 3,000 tokens if you have Surtur, because Call Obsidian can also feature in many, many decks, right? As I mentioned, people are playing smaller energy cost cards, people are playing more 1-cost cards as well, right? For example, Kate Bishop, you can play your arrows and you get your 1-cost, things like that. So it's very, very interesting. I do think that Call Obsidian is potentially worth the 3,000 tokens. So yeah, I might just snag Call Obsidian. So yeah, these are the cards that I are targeting. But otherwise, this series drop, yeah, the drop to Series 4 doesn't really affect me much. It's actually the drop to Series 3 that's I'm actually more excited about. Lady Deathstrike. Right, I think Lady Deathstrike is going to be very, very Lady Deathstrike is very fun to play with. Let's just be very honest with it, right? So yep, and I hope everyone is happy with this series drop. I hope that there are things that are dropping that gets you excited. I hope that, you know, there are some cards that you wanted and now you can get them at a lower costing. Alright, so enjoy the series drop, have fun snapping, happy weekend guys.